Hey y'all, it's your girl Nida and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we are going to do a bop or flop review on the new Juvias Place I Am Magic Foundation and Concealer. So I filmed this review, and when I went to edit it, I found out that I had no audio. And it looks like I probably plugged my microphone into my camera and didn't plug it in all the way. So the camera audio didn't pick up anything, because it's like, well, you've got something in my my input little hole, and my microphone was like, we're not plugged in all the way. And so I was just like, well, it is what it is. We're gonna make it work. So right now I'm going to sit down, give you guys the rundown about the foundation, price, how many shades, and all that jazz, as well for the concealer. And then I'm going to do a little bit of voiceover action as I'm putting on the foundation to just talk about it with you guys, and, you know, let you know what my thoughts were at the time when I was putting on the foundation. I have worn the foundation twice now, which helps me a lot for the latter part of my video, which is when I usually would come back after my wear test and talk about, you know, did it make me oily? How did it hold up? What was the wear time and all that jazz? Thankfully enough, the second time I wore the foundation was actually last week Friday, and I wore it for about 7 hours, which was the same amount of time that I wore it when I first filmed this video. So that was actually really helpful, and it's given me a heck of a lot more insight about the foundation, the shade I chose, that I feel like I can give you guys just a tad bit more of a comprehensive review than the first time I wore it and whatnot. So boom, efficiency. All right, let's move on. So the foundation has 42 shades and retails for $20. You get 1 fluid ounce, 30 milliliters, and the concealer retails for $14, and it has 26 shades. And this has 10 milliliters, 0.34 fluid ounces. So the foundation claims to be a full coverage. It melts into your skin while giving a radiant and velvety finish, made in Italy with top of the line ingredients, and it is broken down into 3 kingdoms. There is the Nubian kingdom, which houses the shades that fall in the lines of deepest dark, deep dark, dark, and rich tan. The medium kingdom that houses shades that fall in the tan and medium area. The light kingdom that houses light and very light. It is cruelty-free, vegan oil free, and paraben free. Okay, cool. The concealer, the shades are divided into 6 families. The formula is full coverage, lightweight, super comfortable, easy to blend, conceals under eye circles, hyperpigmentation, redness, and blemishes. Darkest complexions to very light pale complexions, light and pale complexions. So this released, I believe, on May 20th, and I bought it the day of the release. And by the time I got it in the mail, the shipping was actually pretty quick. The shipping took about, like, it said it was going to take about like 3 days to a week, and I got it in about 3-4 days. So the shipping was mad quick. The foundation comes in this squeezable tube, and I don't see a lot of foundations like this, to be honest. Usually if it is kind of like these little squeezy tubes, it usually doesn't have the top underneath is different. It's usually not this kind of squeezable thing. It's usually kind of like a dropper, not like a dropper, but oh man, I'm gonna grab the Morphe one towards the end of the video when I talk about this some more, to give you guys a comparison, because this reminds me a lot of the Morphe packaging, except for this is a lot smaller than I expected it to be, but hey, it is what it is. So yeah, I tried out both the concealer and the foundation. I don't know if I said this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I am in the shade 340 Kampala for the foundation, and I am in the shade J13. The concealers don't have names. On the website, the shades are listed from darkest to light. For some people, that is a really big deal. For me, I really don't care. As long as I find my shade, I'm cool. I'm simple. As long as I find my shade, cool. No biggie. Don't care. Do what you gotta do. Whatever. But yeah, so the amount of product you get is pretty standard. For $20, I kind of expected more from the packaging. I'll say that up front. I expected more from the packaging, especially in the sense of, say I walk into the store, because I ordered this online. If I walk into Ulta and I'm looking at this, I have no way of telling what's inside here and what shade it is. The concealer at least gives me, like, this tells me what this is and, you know, where this is going to fall for me, but this does not. And I do wish that they had used kind of like either a glass bottle, or they did like the Morphe packaging where it's got a little window in the front to show you what the shade looks like inside. I really do wish that that was the case for this packaging. But other than that, the packaging is cute. I like this color coral, and you know, it's nice. And it's very nice. It fits on brand with what Juvias Place has and the products that they sell. So I wasn't mad about that. Not too long after this came out, they released their setting powder, and I believe the setting powder comes in 5 shades. Stay tuned to find out what I think about the Juvias Place I Am Magic Foundation and Concealer. Alright guys, so here I am just putting on the foundation. I decided to put it on the back of my hand and dot it on my face. And then I'm just going to blend it in with my Sonia Kashuk sponge. This foundation blended in really nice. Just that first layer blended in really smooth, very even. It looked like a good match. The thing I hate the most about buying foundations online is you just can't tell if it's gonna be a good match or not, because sometimes the picture does not depict your skin color at home. And I think it's hilarious that like people are always raving about, oh, 40 something shades, 50 something shades, da 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 da. But like, sis, if I don't see a picture of someone with my exact skin tone or close listed as this shade, then I don't know what the heck I'm buying. So yeah, the first layer went on really, really nice, great coverage. This is supposed to be a medium to full coverage foundation. I ended up going over this with a second layer to just kind of see what it would look like to make it fuller. I did notice, you're going to see a close-up in a little bit, but I did notice that it didn't cover all of my dark spots on my cheeks. And if you are someone who has a lot of discoloration or a lot of dark marks on your face, I suggest color correcting and concealing beforehand. I didn't do so with this video because I wanted to see the coverage in its truest form, and I didn't want to conceal and color correct and all that jazz and then end up, you know, with basically a biased result. So I wanted to see it, you know, what would happen if I just put it on, blended it in, and call it a day. It blends out super quick and it dries down to a velvet matte kind of feel. When I wore the foundation for the second time, it kind of oxidized a little more than the first time. It was a little darker, and it wasn't bad because it's better for your foundation to be a little darker than too light. So sitting inside, and when first time I wore it and going out and whatever, it looked like it matched my chest perfectly, but then wearing it the second time, it was just a tad darker than my chest. But that's okay. It still looked beautiful. At this point, I'm wearing it and it feels like I have nothing. So I'm just blending and blending and blending, and it's just blending down to just nothing. Like, it feels super smooth and very comfortable, and it's almost like you have nothing on your skin. So as you guys can see, I've still got some dark marks peeking through. It's not too bad. Nothing a little bit of color correcting or concealing beforehand can fix or can't fix. So I like the coverage a lot because it feels as lightweight as it does. I feel like you can build it more, but I knew once I did my powder and all that, you know, it was going to be fine. I didn't need to add any more. I like my foundation to be in that medium to full area. I don't mind, you know, my dark marks peeking through kind of like that, because it's not that bad. All right, so here we got the concealer, and this is where things got a little dicey for me. So the concealer shades on the site kind of make a bit of a jump in shades, and like the same thing with foundations, you don't really know which concealer is gonna be the one, because the picture online isn't always the picture or what you get when you buy it. So yeah, as you can see, I'm looking a little tense, but this shade is a little too light for my liking. Now, anybody else who likes their concealer to be pretty bright, this is something they would look at me like, girl, you're crazy. This is around the shade that you should be using on your under eyes. But for me, it's just a little bit too bright. That's just a preference, and that's what that is. So I did continue to use it. I did not mix it with anything else because I'm like, I gotta review it, I gotta do it. And it blended out super fast, and the coverage was great. It's a really great concealer coverage wise. The only problem I had was it creased on me pretty bad, but we'll talk about that some more at the end of the video. So I decided to record me setting my face, my under eyes, and my full face. And for the locals who have been with me for a while know that I use the ColourPop loose setting powder in the shade Banana to set my under eyes. And I set my entire face with the ColourPop No Filter Press powder in the shade Dark. So here's me just setting my under eyes with my banana powder, and boy, they are bright. Like I said, it is a preference. I don't like for them to be like this bright. And as you can see, I'm like, ooh, this is very bright. But that's okay. I, went back over with my sponge to just press it all in. And now I'm just setting my face with that ColourPop press powder. And everything looks good. The foundation set really nicely. The concealer set great. So everything so far was pretty great. And as you guys know, I like to hit my face with some Urban Decay Chill Spray after all my powder products are on, just to melt everything down into the skin. All right, so here I am with my full face. I went off camera and did my contour. I did my highlighting, blush, and my eyeliner, and decided to add a pop of color in my inner corners and my lashes. So, oh, and gloss, of course, too. So, yeah, I just finished off my face the way I normally would. I used all the usual products to contour / bronze my face. I used the Bobbi Brown bronzer, and I believe I'm wearing the Morphe highlighter in Mirage right now. I believe so, something like that. And I'm wearing the Makeup Shack Rainforest palette on the eyes. So yeah, this is what my face looks like. I'm going on and on right now about how my under eyes are already creasing. Yeah, I cannot believe this all got recorded with like no audio. Dead. I'm dead. So I'm just going to show y'all here the time at which I finished my makeup, which was 5:53 p.m. Okay, I am back. And as you can see at some point on this screen, either I am a little box or a big box, not too sure, because, yeah, I haven't edited just as yet. So why do I keep doing this? Anyways. So like I said, I've worn this foundation twice now, and I'm gonna get out some of these, I'm gonna get out some of the cons first, because that's kind of the first things that are popping up in my mind. When I filmed this check-in, I finished my makeup like around 5:30. I filmed the check-in around 1, a little after 1, because by that point we had already finished watching game 5 of the finals. And I really didn't feel like trying to move around the stuff in my room. I was tired. I was just really over, like, I was just tired. I was really tired. That game took me on an emotional roller coaster, y'all. Like, oh my God. And a lot of y'all don't know this, but I love sports. I really, really have a great love for basketball. And I'm a Heat fan as well as a Warriors fan. A lot of people are like, well, how does that work? Well, I'll tell you how it works. I'm a fan of basketball first. I'm a fan of players first. So that kind of gives you a lot of room to find teams or a team that you really resonate with and that you really love, even if they're not winning, and even if they are winning. So I fell in love with the Warriors before they started winning, and when that boy Steph went off on the Knicks for like a 50-point game, they lost that game, but that boy shot lights out, and I was hooked. I was like, I'm hooked. So he is one of my favorite players on the team, but I have a lot of love for people like Steph, Kevon Looney, Quinn Cook, the bench guys. I even really like Jerebko. I've never seen someone just miss a 3-point shot, get his own rebound, step into rhythm, and then hit a 2 or a 3, like he didn't just miss the last shot. And I'm going on a tangent about basketball, and I'm so sorry. Anyways, let's stick to what this video is about, which is about Juvias Place and their foundation. Okay, so overall, I like the foundation. That's stamped right there. I like the foundation, and I do not like the concealer. All right, so let's put that out there. Now, the foundation is super comfortable. It is right. It is they are right. It is a velvety matte foundation. It is full coverage, but it's also buildable, especially if you're someone like me who likes to start a little light and then kind of work their way to a comfortable spot. I don't like for my foundation to look cakey on my face. I like for a very skin-like finish to my foundation, and this foundation gave me that. The first time I wore it, it gave me that, and the second time I wore it, it did it even better. The first time I'm wearing it, you may see I have some blemishes. I've got like a zit somewhere around here. Like I said, this is pre-editing, so I don't know what's going on. But I know I had a breakout when I did this, because I was like, I want to power through it and, you know, put this video up for you guys. So the second time I wore it, and I'll insert some Snapchat foolery and whatnot, some filter-free foolery, because I did a little bit of that.
They want me to buy her some booty shots, but I can't fix a flat. I'm not Michelin. My mind's overflowing with.
And if you follow me on Instagram, which you should, go down to the description box and follow me on my Twitter and my Instagram and all that jazz. But then you would have seen a picture I posted. The foundation looked really good when I wore it last week Friday, and so you're gonna see me here, and I'm sitting in a different space. I did not feel like moving to my room and moving things around and shuffling around in order to film there, the check-in. So I filmed it in my living room, and that's the back wall of my living room. And at that point, there's no other lights on in the living room area, and I had my boyfriend turn off the lights in the family room and kitchen area, so there was just no light except for my ring light. And I thought I looked shiny because my ring light was less than a foot away from me, and I've got this white wall and white blinds behind me. So here I am thinking, well, there's no depth to my background, there's no color to my background, so I'm gonna look, you know, this light's just bouncing. It's bouncing against that wall, it's bouncing against me, it's gonna make me look shiny. Now, that wasn't the case. So when I wore the foundation last week Friday, by the end of the night, I put it on, I went outside, I took pictures. It was hot as hell outside, because I told y'all I live in South Florida. It's hot as hell outside. Took some pictures, and I didn't do any touch-ups last week, and I didn't do any touch-ups the night that I wore Testa foundation. And I was last week, after I finished all of that, I ate some pizza and I went to D&D. I played Dungeons and Dragons on Fridays. You guys are learning weird tidbits about me in this video. It's just, I played D&D, and I went to D&D. We run D&D from like 8:30 to like, we didn't leave my friend's house until like after 1, and I didn't get home until after like 2, so I didn't take my makeup off until like after 2. So I'd had the makeup on from like 5:30 in the afternoon to like 2:30 in the morning. I had this shit on for like 7-8 hours. So yeah, I had the foundation on for a while. Last week Friday, I was oil city, and I knew I was oily because my boyfriend literally turns to me and goes, "You're oily." And I was like, "Where?" And I'm thinking, you know, maybe a little oily on the tip of my nose, no biggie. No, he was like, your face is oily. I was oily all in here. My forehead was oily, my nose was oily, I was the oil slick. And I was like, oh my God, I was sitting at the table with my character being confident, and like, I really sat there and I looked this oily. But I didn't start, and I could feel it. I could feel the oil by that time. By 2 something in the morning, I could feel it. I could just feel it on my face. It felt super heavy. I was like, oh, I just need to take this off. I'm ready. The previous time I wore it, I was oily in here, but my cheeks weren't super oily. All of this looked really shiny, but it wasn't like really oily. My nose, on the other hand, all of this was like super oily. My forehead was fine. I used the same primer combination in the first video as when I did my makeup last week Friday, so I don't know what happened. I don't know. But going back and watching the footage now and seeing it, I'm like, you were oily the first time around. And it wasn't as bad, but it was bad. It wasn't good. So typically I don't get super oily in here. Like, it maybe just a little bit, but not a lot. My nose in the past like 6 months, I've been getting really oily right in here. My forehead typically doesn't get oily, and my chin doesn't get oily. So to get oily in places that I normally don't get oily, like all in my cheeks and my forehead, was a little weird for me. But other than that, I feel like maybe if I use a mattifying like setting spray or a more mattifying primer, or specifically a mattifying primer, maybe I wouldn't get as oily by the end of the night with this foundation. Maybe, I hope. I like and don't like the packaging of the foundation, and my biggest issue is it's $20 and it's so small. And I just feel like for $20, this could be a little bit more. When I think of this foundation and I think of the price and I think of the packaging, I'm like, you know, y'all could have went the Morphe route. And I should grab those. Which I think at some point I'm going to be holding them up around here. Y'all should have went the Morphe route and, you know, did a packaging with a window on the front. Some way that I can see in here to know what this shade looks like and what, you know, just for reference before I try to test it or say I can't get this tested at the time and I need to buy it blind and take it home or whatever. I mean, when you're shopping online, you got to buy it blind. But yeah, I do wish that NYX was able to put their Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation in a glass bottle, and it's a $17 foundation. It's still drugstore and still under $20 in a glass bottle with a pump. And I just kind of feel like that could have been done, but you know, it's like splitting hairs because it's a preference for me, but it's not a necessary thing for somebody else. So that's more of a preference thing. Other than that, the foundation, I realized the second time around wearing it, it does oxidize. My face was a little darker than my chest, but it wasn't ridiculous. It's always better to be a little darker versus lighter because you can fix darker. You can go lighter in your, you know, your concealer. You can, you know, definitely you can go lighter in your concealer, you know, maybe a little lighter in your setting powder, but you don't want to have your foundation be too light because then it's going to be a hell of a thing to try and go darker. So I really don't mind when my foundation is just a tad bit darker. I do have trouble finding an exact match between my face and my chest. But you know, everybody's got their thing. Everybody's got their struggle. You know, everybody's got their struggle. Kampala is described as a for golden undertones, so for deep golden undertones. So when I looked at it, I was like, this looks like me. I look like this. Well, I look like this. Looks like this will work for me. So yeah. But other than that, I really do like the foundation. I'm gonna try it some more. I'm gonna keep wearing it, and I'm gonna try it with a more mattifying primer and setting spray as well, and see where that gets me. Because if that puts me in a place where I'm not oily, then I'm fine. I just need to pay more attention to when I get oily. I think I get oily around the 4 to 5 hour mark of wearing my foundation, which isn't too bad. I'm not typically getting up in the morning and putting on foundation for work because I work from home. So, and typically when I'm going out, I'm only going out for 4 or 5 hours anyway. So by the time I get home, it's time to take it off, and that's probably when it gets oily. But yeah, so it's not, the foundation to me is a bop. I like the foundation a lot.
Alright, so for some reason, my clip talking about the concealer is gone. Okay. So, my final thoughts about the concealer was it was a flop for me. It's a good concealer, it's full coverage and whatnot, but the shade just was not what I like when I'm looking for a concealer to highlight my T-zone and whatnot. When I looked at my pictures, they just did not look the best. And when I wore the foundation again without the concealer, it was great. Everything was just great. So the concealer is self-setting, which is pretty good, but I do suggest to set with a powder anyway. That's what I did. The finish is pretty nice. It did crease really bad on me, but all concealers crease to some degree on me, some just worse than others. This was one of those that just creased a little worse than the others. So if you do want to try it out, I do suggest going in store and purchasing versus purchasing online. If I probably had did that The first time, I probably would have had a better experience. But yeah, that is it. Foundation of a bop for me. Concealer was a flop for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you on my next video. Bye.